There is a moment when truth arrives and your body knows before your mind is ready. Your chest tightens before you can explain why. Your breathing changes without permission. Your stomach drops, not in shock, but in recognition. This isn't surprise. This is confirmation. This is the moment something you've been negotiating with internally finally stops negotiating back. For me, that moment did not come with yelling. It did not come with chaos. It did not come with slammed doors, all raised voices. It came quietly, almost respectfully. And somehow, that made it heavier. There was no dramatic confrontation to distract me from what I already knew. No explosive argument to give me permission to collapse emotionally. Just silence. And silence is dangerous when you've been avoiding yourself. I remember sitting with that silence and feeling embarrassed before I felt angry. Embarrassed that my intuition had been right. Embarrassed that I had defended what didn't deserve defending. Embarrassed that I dismissed my own instincts in the name of loyalty. Betrayal doesn't just hurt emotionally. It attacks your identity. It makes you question your judgment, your discernment, your leadership over your own life. As a man, it doesn't just feel like heartbreak. It feels like exposure. Like everyone can suddenly see what you failed to protect. Before I ever felt rage, I felt humiliation. I replayed conversations in my head. Small moments that felt off at the time, that I actually minimized. Changes in energy, explanations that sounded reasonable but never quite sat in my spirit. Moments where something inside me paused, but I kept moving anyway. I asked myself hard questions in the quiet, like, where did I choose comfort over clarity? Where did I ignore the truth? Because confronting it would have forced me to act. The most painful realization wasn't the cheating itself. It was the fact that I had sensed something long before I had proof. I didn't like awareness. I liked courage. I knew something wasn't right. I felt it. But instead of honoring that feeling, I rationalized it away. I told myself I was overthinking. I told myself I was being unfair. I told myself commitment meant trust, even when trust felt fragile. As men, we're often taught to endure, to push through discomfort, to handle things quietly. But nobody teaches us how to listen to ourselves without guilt. Nobody teaches us that ignoring your intuition doesn't make you strong. It makes you vulnerable. So I stayed. I stayed because starting over felt terrifying. I stayed because admitting failure felt heavier than carrying pain. I stayed because walking away would have meant facing a future I hadn't prepared for. I told myself staying made me strong. I told myself endurance was maturity. But strength without boundaries is endurance without dignity. Every day I stayed, something inside me eroded. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. You see, betrayal has a way of turning you inward. You stop asking what someone else did wrong and start asking, what's wrong with you? Was I not enough? Did I miss something obvious? Was I too trusting? Too patient? Those questions can eat you alive if you don't interrupt them just in time. I try to understand the betrayal. I search for explanations that would make it hurt less. I try to intellectualize something that was deeply emotional. I thought if I could make it make sense, it wouldn't break me. But betrayal doesn't need logic. It needs boundaries. And I didn't have them yet. Eventually, the truth stopped being something I could emotionally manage. It became something I had to confront practically. The realization wasn't just about what happened. It was about what could never be rebuilt. Trust doesn't reset just because someone apologizes. Respect doesn't return just because someone explains themselves. And that was something painful truth to accept. Because accepting it meant letting go of the future I had already imagined. It meant grieving something that was technically still alive, but functionally dead. There is a specific grief that comes with betrayal. It's not just grief over a person, it's grief over the version of life you thought you were building. And that grief doesn't resolve quickly. Some endings don't come with closure. They come with clarity. And clarity does not negotiate. It doesn't ask how you feel about it. It simply tells you what can no longer continue. That moment changed me. Not immediately, not cleanly, permanently.